You ever have that feeling like you're working so hard, doing everything you're supposed to, but, well, you're just not getting anywhere?
Oh, absolutely. It's that feeling of running hard but staying in the same place. Really frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. Well, today on the deep dive, we're kind of digging into that feeling, but through a really cool lens. We've got this audio recording of an old folk tale from Chengdu in Sichuan. It's called Fan Dan Asks Buddha.
Ah, folk tales. They often have these surprisingly deep insights packed into simple stories, don't they?
Totally. And that's our mission here, not just tell the story, but really unpack it, see what it might tell us about, like, ambition, life, maybe those weird connections that pop up.
Sounds great. So, who's our main character?
Right. So it centers on this beggar in Chengdu. And he's not lazy, that's the thing. He's out there every day begging for rice, trying to save up, even just a little bit.
Okay, so he's working at it, trying to build some basic security. Something most people can relate to, I think.
Definitely. But here's the kicker. No matter how hard he tries, how much rice he collects day to day, his storage jar or whatever he uses, it's always practically empty, year after year.
Wow. So the effort is there, but the result isn't. That must be maddening.
You'd think. It speaks to that kind of anxiety, right? Like, are my efforts just pointless? Is something working against me?
Mm-hmm. That fear of hidden obstacles.
So one night, he's just had enough. He decides, okay, I'm going to figure this out. He hides near his little stash of rice.
Okay, playing detective.
Yeah. And what does he find? Not some, big mystery thief. He finds a big rat just sneaking in and eating his grains.
A rat. Huh. Not quite the cosmic force one might imagine.
Right. Kind of mundane, almost. You'd expect something bigger holding him back after all that time. But then it gets weirder.
Oh.
He confronts the rat, asks it, why me? Why steal from me when there are rich people with tons of food? And the rat. Well, the rat talks back.
Ah, okay. Here comes the folktale magic. The talking animal.
Exactly. It allows the story to explore things differently. And the rat tells him straight up, look, it's your fate. You are destined to only ever have 8 measures of rice.
8 measures. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow, imagine hearing that. Your whole struggle just capped,
Yeah.
predetermined.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes you think, doesn't it? For you, the learner listening, ever feel like you've hit some kind of invisible limit?
The idea of fate or a set destiny, it's powerful. But the real story is often in the reaction, isn't it? Acceptance or...
Or defiance.
Yeah.
And this beggar, he's not having it. No way. A rat isn't going to decide his life. This is where it shifts.
Okay, so he doesn't just accept this fate.
Nope. He decides, I need answers from the top. He's going to travel west, find the Buddha, and ask why. Why this 8 measures thing?
That's a heck of a journey, especially for a beggar. Going west, seeking enlightenment, answers. It's a classic quest narrative.
And it's tough, like you said. He's begging his way, relying on kindness. But along the way, he has these 3 really significant encounters.
The trials on the road.
Yeah.
Always important.
First up, he meets this wealthy landlord. Big house, everything. But the landlord has this problem. His daughter, she's 16, and she can't speak. Has never spoken, apparently.
Yeah, that's difficult. A real worry for a parent.
Totally. The landlord's desperate. He hears the beggar is going to see Buddha, and he makes this huge offer. Ask Buddha why my daughter is mute. If you find out and she can speak, I'll give her to you in marriage.
Wow. High stakes. So the beggar's own quest immediately gets tangled up with someone else's deep problem.
Right. He's carrying this heavy request now. Then he keeps going, gets to this mountain temple, beautiful place, and he meets an old monk.
Okay.
And this monk, he's not new to this. He's been practicing, meditating, doing all the monk things for over 500 years.
500? That's an astonishing amount of time. You'd expect him to be, well, enlightened.
You would, but that's the twist. He isn't. Despite all that practice, he can't ascend to heaven. He's stuck, basically.
Stuck after 5 centuries. Oof.
Yeah. So he begs the beggar, please, when you see Buddha, ask him for me too. Why can't I ascend? So that's request number 2.
So the beggar's becoming a sort of an emissary for the stuck people he meets.
Pretty much. Okay, third encounter. He reaches this wide river. No bridge, no boat in sight. How's he going to cross?
Another obstacle.
Just as he's wondering, this huge turtle surfaces. Massive thing. And guess what?
It talks.
It talks. Following the pattern here.
The talking animals again. Symbolic, clearly.
And this turtle, it tells him it's been practicing even longer than the monk. Over 1,000 years.
1,000 years. Good grief. What's its goal?
It wants to become a dragon. You know, that symbol of power and transformation. But
Yeah.
after a millennium, Still a turtle.
Wow. Stuck again? Just in a different way?
Exactly. So the turtle makes a deal. Ask Buddha why I can't become a dragon, and I'll carry you across this river.
Okay, so now he's got 3 questions for Buddha, none of them his own. Plus his original one about the rice.
Yep. He started seeking his own answer and ended up carrying the hopes and frustrations of these 3 others.
It really highlights how our paths cross, how our problems might be linked in ways we don't expect.
Okay, so let's pause for our listeners here. The learner, what's jumping out at you so far about these meetings? See any patterns? Shared desires between the daughter, the monk, the turtle.
It's striking, isn't it? They're all stuck. The daughter can't speak, the monk can't ascend, the turtle can't transform. Different goals, same feeling of being blocked despite wanting it, despite time or effort in some cases.
That feeling of being held back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. Okay, so eventually, after more travel, more begging, the beggar finally makes it. He arrives in the presence of Buddha.
Destination. The moment of truth.
Buddha's there, wise, serene, asks why he came all this way. The beggar explains he has some questions. But then Buddha says something crucial.
It's
He says, I can only answer 3 questions. Apparently, nobody's ever needed to ask more than 3 before.
only 3.
Ugh.
But the beggar has 4, including his own. That's
Right.
quite the dilemma.
A huge one. He came all this way for his own question, right? About the rice, his fate. But what does he do?
Based on his journey so far, I have a guess.
You got it. Without skipping a beat, he asks Buddha about the turtle first, then the monk, then the landlord's daughter. He uses all 3 questions on the problems of the people he met along the way, not one for himself.
Wow, that's real selflessness, especially for someone who started out feeling like fate was against him. To put others first like that.
And it's pretty profound. So Buddha gives the answers. For the turtle, the 1,000-year practitioner.
Yes, why couldn't it become a dragon?
Because it was too attached to its shell. Turns out, inside that shell were 24 incredible luminous pearls. Super rare, super valuable. Buddha says clinging to that treasure, that shell, was holding it back. Let go of the shell and you can transform.
Attachment. Holding on to something valuable, something seen as security, but it's actually the cage. That resonates. What shells are we holding on to, maybe?
Makes you think, right? Okay, next, the monk. 500 years, stuck. Why?
What was holding him back?
His staff. Not just any staff, though. It was magical. Wherever he struck it on the ground, fresh water would spring up. Amazing, right? Life-giving.
Very useful, especially in ascetic practice, perhaps.
But he was attached to it, worried about it, cherished it. Buddha said that attachment, even to something good and useful, was tethering him to the earth. He had to be willing to let the staff go to ascend.
So it's not just about negative things we're attached to. It can be good things, useful things, tools, relationships. If we cling too tightly, they can still hold us back from the next step. Fascinating.
Exactly. And finally, the landlord's daughter. Why was she mute?
What was the answer for her?
Simple but deep, Buddha said. She'll speak when her destined partner arrives. Her heart's person, the translation sometimes says.
So her solution wasn't internal exactly, but linked to connection, to someone else arriving. Fate, connection. Interesting.
Yeah. So Buddha gives these 3 answers, then disappears. The beggar is left there, having learned about everyone else's problems, but not his own.
He must have felt, well, maybe a bit disappointed, or maybe just resigned to go back to his old life.
Seems like it. He figures, okay, time to head back to Chengdu, back to the 8 measures of rice, I guess. But the return journey, that's where everything changes.
The reward loop begins. Because of his selflessness.
Totally. He gets back to the river. The turtle is waiting, anxious. What did Buddha say? What did he say?
Understandably eager after 1,000 years.
The beggar explains about the shell, the 24 pearls, the attachment, and the turtle just gets it instantly, no hesitation.
Right.
Sheds the shell right then and there, gives the pearls, these incredible treasures, to the beggar, saying, I don't need these anymore. And the second the shell is off, poof.
Dragon.
Magnificent dragon soars into the sky. Gone. Liberation and the beggar. He's suddenly holding immense wealth.
Wow. Direct consequence of letting go for the turtle and an unexpected reward for the beggar's errand. The interconnectedness.
Isn't it cool? Okay, he keeps going, gets back to the mountain temple. The old monk is waiting, same anticipation.
For the news about his ascension.
Beggar tells him about the staff, the attachment, and again, the monk understands immediately. Joyfully, he just hands the magical staff over to the beggar.
Gives it away. Just like that.
Just like that. Says his farewells and whoosh, ascends right into the heavens, free at last, and the beggar. Now he has the pearls and this miraculous staff.
Unreal. helping others unlock their potential and inadvertently receiving these powerful gifts.
It keeps getting better. He finally gets near the landlord's place, and there's this sudden commotion, people running out.
What's happening?
It's the daughter. She runs out towards him and she's talking. Clear as a bell, she shouts, "The person who asked Buddha for us is back."
She spoke. Seeing him triggered it. He was the heart's person arriving, in a way.
Seems like it. The connection was him acting on her behalf. The landlord is absolutely ecstatic, overjoyed, and true to his word.
He gives his daughter in marriage to the beggar.
He does. So the beggar, who set out just wanting to understand why he could only have 8 measures of rice, ends up with immense wealth, a magical tool, and a wife and family. All because he asked questions for other people.
It's a fantastic resolution. His own problem wasn't directly solved by Buddha, but his actions, his selflessness, completely transformed his life in ways far beyond just getting more rice.
So wrapping this up, for you, the learner, what are the big takeaways here? I mean, first, obviously this theme of attachment, right?
Definitely. Clinging. Whether it's to wealth like the turtle's pearls or something useful like the monk's staff, or maybe even an idea of who we are. That clinging can really block us.
Even good things can become traps if we hold on too tight when it's time to move on.
Exactly. It's about the willingness to release, to let go, when that thing starts preventing growth rather than enabling it.
And the second big thing has to be selflessness, The beggar puts everyone else first, uses his precious questions for them.
And gets rewarded far more richly than if he just focused on his own problem. It suggests that sometimes the best way to solve our own issues is to look outward.
Help others break through their barriers, maybe.
Yeah, or just shift the focus off our own struggles for a bit. That interconnectedness seems key. Helping the turtle didn't just help the turtle. It directly benefited the beggar. Helping the monk did too. It wasn't zero-sum.
It makes you wonder how often we get stuck just looking at our own plate, Missing chances to help someone else, which might, in some weird way, unlock something for us, too.
It's a powerful idea, that our liberation might be tied up with the liberation of others.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Think about the shells or staffs in your own life. Not literal ones, maybe, but, I don't know, beliefs, fears, habits. That one way of thinking you always rely on.
Or maybe even just that intense focus purely on your own needs, your own goals, blocking out everything else.
Could letting some of that go, shifting focus, maybe helping someone else with their stuck point, could that actually be the key to your own transformation? Not just for you, but for everyone you're connected to.
It's definitely something worth pondering. A really provocative thought from a simple folktale.
Yeah. Something to chew on long after this deep dive is over.